We've got an updated tier list. I've played most of these heroes. I've done them at least on the test dummy. I've tried to play them out in the open wild so we can see how they interact with the enemy, how they're going to interact in teams. And of course, we're going to do more videos on the Vortex boss with all the teams. All the teams, it's free to play. All the teams with the epics. We're going to start doing that tomorrow. I'm going to level everybody up past 90 onto 100, and I will get videos out for all the Vortex boss, and then we'll take those teams and we'll tackle all the bosses that we have to fight right now for all those amethyst, and then we've got the bosses for the very last month of our season to get all that damage in so we can really finish the season strong. The link is down below for this. If you want to know damage numbers, I've tested over 90 heroes. We've got it on 1 target, on 3 targets, and then on 5 targets. So you can scroll down the list and see who's doing the most damage. Legendary, legendary, legendary. Total Nan is there at ranked number 4 out of all the heroes. And then we've got legendary, legendary, legendary. We've got an epic here again. We've got a rare with Usha, and you can see all the numbers. They used all the same gear. So if it was somebody that does damage based off of HP, obviously they're not going to be really high on the chart because it was all done with crit rate and pretty much that 100% crit rate. This will give you a good idea where they stand, but not within a group. But at least if you're going to use somebody that's dauntless, you'll know the hardest hitting dauntless. So if you put them in a group and he gets additional benefits from that, then you already know, hey, this is going to be the one I want to test out. This is going to be the one that's already doing the most damage. For 3 targets and 5 targets, you've got all these as well. Lots of damage from these heroes. So if you're going to use something for the Goblin Cave or you just want to do some AoE damage, come and check that out. My updated list is all about the rares, like the best rares, the rares that you should only focus on, and a whole lot of rares we should never ever worry about. We'll jump over to my breakdown list in just a second, but Sigrid, right? She is SSS. She is basically better than some legendaries and better than all epics in the game. So if you have to use your selector box and you don't have her, we get 1 rare selector box every single month from the free version of the Battle Pass. Yes. Get her accuracy lead whenever anybody dies with a debuff on. Doesn't have to be her debuff. She gets the 25 ultimate increase. So she just fire, fire, fire. Anybody with a debuff on out there, she will hit. I'm sure you've seen her before. I'm sure you know all about her. Yes, she is the ultimate rare. Always and forever probably will be the best rare. Here's the new breakdown. We have Sigrid as SSS plus class over there on the far left. We've got Hexandra as just amazing healer tank. Her defense is extremely high. You put a lot of healing gear on her. She's going to do well with her healing. She can be your main tank in some content, which I've shown you a lot of times. And she can always be your off tank to absorb a lot of damage and do healing in other content. Going through Feywild, going through the story mode with those 3 battles. Then we've got Arena. Arena just does amazing multi-target damage. Go look at those 3 numbers, the 3 targets and 5 target numbers. Go look at Arena there and she just shines. Plus she can remove 1 buff from everybody she hits. She can do decrease attack to 50% less damage, 50% less attack to us, which just makes her amazing. We've got Inna there to remove 1 debuff from us and give us that heal over time. That makes her great. Then we have Adri. And I know you've seen of Dree if you followed my channel, knocking back that ultimate gauge and slowing that ultimate gauge. She makes it so we can get through so much content. Megan is a healer here. What makes her so strong is her battle skill. She gives somebody else 25% increase ultimate gauge, which is crazy. Plus, she does increase defense 1. She does the heal over time. It's very, very strong. Quirion, really, really fast ultimate to get those heals up. Also does increase defense 1 for us. Just a low cooldown on a healer. These healers in the rare category are really good. Usha, I think Usha is still top tier. She does single target damage, which is on that chart really, really high. She can keep herself alive. She does amazing AoE damage too in a 3x3. And the ability for her to put those shields on based off of her attack is what really sets her off, which really makes it so you can have her as a DPS up there with your tank, being hit and keeping herself alive with some heals in there. Meredith is a common. She is the best, she's the best common healer for sure, but she is the best because we can kind of outfit her as a tank as well. There's nothing we can put on her to increase her healing. All her healing is based off of the target she's healing HP, their max HP. So we can just make her as tanky as could be, and she's really, really a wonderful healer. She's been getting us through a lot of content at low levels. We just leave her at as low level as we can, as long as she'll survive. Over here in the S plus category, we've got Grover, because he can steal 2 buffs. That is strong. He's got a great captain ability for accuracy. Being able to steal 2 buffs in something like Grave of Curse is great. Being able to steal 2 buffs, which I've seen lately when I've taken him through the trials, has been really good, and he does good damage. Fitz down here is our Necrosis tank, kind of like a tank. He does okay tanking, but his big thing is to take all debuffs and bring them on to himself, and then remove debuffs. Plus he gets all the healing when he takes all those debuffs. Really awesome in Grave of Rot. If you haven't seen my Grave of Rot video, taking it down with all rares on 8 full auto, go check that one out. Eli, he does poisons. Very, very few poisons. Just 1 single target poison. He has a really good AoE. All in all, he does additional derivative damage when there's a poison up, which he can apply. He does good damage, like really good single target damage, really good AoE damage, and he's poison affinity. But I will say that he doesn't do more damage than your main character. Your main character with those books that we get for free is doing 30% additional damage on both of his skills. So he outpaces Eli, single target and in AoE and a fire spec. But Eli is still really good if you need somebody else to do more AoE and then also double up and be really good on the Vortex boss. Go look at his numbers on single target. Go look at his numbers on AoE. They are good. Latalis. I've been using Latalis a lot lately. This guy can do a big diamond shape, AoE, block healing, put debuffs up for Sigrid, and then on its battle skill, knock back the ultimate gauge of the enemy by 20%. This on a boss is really strong. Extremely strong to keep knocking back that ultimate gauge from a battle skill. And then, of course, like I said, to get all those debuffs up. Oh yeah, plus, whenever Latalis does damage, there's a 50% chance to put decrease attack of 25% up on the enemy. Anytime it does damage, we get that lower version of decrease attack, but it'll save your ass. That is still mitigating a lot of damage. So when you take all that into consideration, this hero deserves the S plus class. Jirana, we've showcased her recently in Ancient Battlefields and Grave of Curse. Every 3 basic attacks, she can remove a buff from the enemy. She does shields. So if we do take her to 100 and we put a lot of HP gear on her, she can put shields on your team. They're not going to be as strong as the main character with all that attack, but they're still good. And she can remove a buff, which we need. We need that in Ancient Battlefield. We need that in Grave of Curse, and of course, anywhere else. On to the S ranks. These are just here if you need somebody to go through trials. If you need Edgar as a tank, this guy gets massive shields. I just took him to 100 recently, put some in-game gear on him. He gets 20,000 HP shields on his battle skill, 39,000 HP shields on his ultimate, and takes 20% less damage when he has an HP shield on. Doesn't have to be applied by him, but just think about that. Almost 40,000 HP shield when he does his ultimate. If I need somebody to go through the trials and I need to level up a tank, or I need an additional tank to fight all these bosses that we're fighting right now, this guy is a really good rare option to keep himself alive so your healer doesn't have to work as hard. And he does damage based off of his max HP, so it can do a little damage as well. He hits people in a 3x3 in his ultimate. The more people he hits, the bigger his shield. All I needed to do was to hit 2 people to get it right above 40,000. I think when I hit 1 person, it was like 38,000. It was still a massive shield for a rare to keep himself alive. This guy, Gloin, he's not the best. He doesn't do the best damage. He's got 2 AoE abilities, so I would not use him in the Goblin Cave to try to get damage. But he does do a blind on 1 AoE, which is a control ability, not a debuff for Sigrid. And he does also remove buffs on his ultimate. He has 3 chances to remove buffs. That's the only reason he's here on the list. If you absolutely don't have anybody else to remove buffs, if you don't have Grover, if you don't have, any of the other ones that we've talked about here, Jirana, if you don't have Arena to remove buffs, this guy can have 3 chances. 3 attacks on that ultimate at a 50% chance, but if you put scrolls into him, it goes up to a 75% chance to remove 3 buffs. That's pretty good for a rare. that doesn't do a lot of damage. It's decent. It's just there in case you need it. That's why he's on the S class. Barrack, this guy is a really good tank in the Radiant. If you need a Radiant tank to go up through trials, if you need additional tanks, just like Edgar here, to go through the 3 waves that we're fighting, then bring up this tank. If you don't have any other options, if you don't have some kind of amazing epic or some kind of amazing legendary, then you've got this. He's good. He's really good. This tank was just updated. The only saving grace about him is that he will put up that 30% less damage taken to your allies in a 3x3 square and ally protect one of them. The only problem with him is that you have to manually cast it because he's not smart about this at all. He always puts it on himself, and then anybody around him, well, there might not be anybody around him. And what you want it on everybody else. So you want to put it back there on them. So you've got to manual that. But if you're in some kind of content where everyone else is taking damage, you want to keep them alive, this guy will be really good for it. And then we've got Tio. Tio can do 2 AoE abilities. They are strong, yes, but he's not bringing anything else to the party. So if you need somebody for the Goblin Cave, but the Goblin Cave, we're working on the 5-man affinity in Goblin Cave. We're no longer trying to do just like the 3-person team. We're doing the 5-person team once we're going up into Goblin Layer 3. 3-3, trying to make our way up there. 3-3 is very easy with a free-to-play comp that I think I'm going to show tonight with Sigrid. I actually was making it very simple through there, and I just 3-starred it one time. So that should be a pretty good comp for everybody to see. But that guy is just there in case you just need some AoE, and that's really it. The rest of these, please, you tell me if there are any that you're using and you think they are good. I know there's a lot of Welby fans out there. If you're able to give Welby rally all the time, then he's cool because he's got a 50% jump in his ultimate meter. He'll do his ultimate, and then if he consumes rally, his ultimate will go up by 50%. So it's almost there again. I get it, but it's hard to give people rally in this game. It really is. The rest of these, they just don't have a place. They can do things like Zadie's actually got a lot of cool abilities and can remove 1 buff from the enemy. So you could use them. I'm not saying you can't use these. I'm just saying that they don't do crazy damage. They don't, they're not up there on the damage list. These other here with Dauntless, maybe we can make a Dauntless team, and we will make a rare Dauntless team, maybe with a choice epic thrown in there to see what kind of damage we can get on the Vortex boss. But most of these guys just really don't have a place and aren't worth leveling up. So I'm hoping you have all these other ones in the S, S+, SS ones, and not these guys over here in the A's. But if you do, if you have somebody in the A and you swear by them, let me know down below. Let me know what kind of team you're using. If you do have Welby and you've got Higio, the Epic, okay, I get it. I really get it. But as far as a lot of these other ones, they just don't do enough. And Fizzle can remove 1 buff as well. So look for those guys if you need somebody to remove a buff. I just put the best ones. This is a tier list, right? So I put the best ones over here. The ones you really should concentrate on where these aren't, like, they're just not there. They're not there in the damage. They're not there for the versatility. They're not where I would want to waste my resources and level them up and use them when we've got a lot of other options. And I'm sure you've pulled some epics by now, right? You're not just rolling in all rares. You've got other options. These summoners, these poisoners, they're just not doing the damage we need. That is my updated rare tier list. Let me know what you think down below. Let me know, again, if there's any rares that I need to switch around. I'm always up for testing things out. If you tell me something's great, I will test it. And if it deserves to be moved up, we will move that bad boy up. Thanks for watching, guys. Please subscribe if you haven't, and I will see you all in a video soon.